What is poppin'? It's Meme Lord, and today we're doing a tier list. Gen 9 and Hisuian Pokemon. And you can see my face today. I have a little light here. I got some lights on in the room, and hopefully it all looks good and you can hear me great. But let's just get started. Get right into it. So yeah, like I said, we'll have Hisuian Pokemon and Gen 9 Pokemon. So we'll start with Hisuian, Growlithe, and Arcanine, and I think they're both really good. Not a fan of having two 4 times weaknesses to water and ground. That's not the best. But I think the designs are cool, especially Growlithe. I think it's really cute. And Voltorb and Electrode, I also think are good. I have a shiny of Electrode, and I got a shiny of Voltorb, and I have shiny of Electrode, and I think they're both cool. I like how it's a regional form that makes sense. That it's wood. It's like the old Pokeballs, and I think that's just really cool. Paldean Tauros, I don't really like the just fighting one, and I think the water or the fire and water one are good. They're both kind of rare, and the fighting one is just a recolored Tauros, and these two like are a bit different, but they're not. I think they're okay. Some of the weaker regional forms we've gotten. Paldean Wooper's S tier. It's fantastic. It's awesome. It's Wooper. Who doesn't love Wooper? And then Swimming Quillfish, I think is A. I am a Quillfish supporter. I feel like everyone has like that one Pokemon that most people don't like, but that they really like. And for me, that's Quillfish. I think Quillfish is awesome. I think he's really cute and funny. And where's Overquill? He is somewhere. There he is. I think Overquill's S tier. I think Overquill is one of the best names we've ever gotten for a Pokemon. And I think it just looks really cool. And Poison Dark, in my opinion, is a great typing. Stewie and Sneasel, I'll put in B. Don't think it needed it. It's already like the Sinnoh, like it's one of the. I mean, though it's a Johto Pokemon, it having Weavile makes it like having Weavile is like one of the staples of a Sinnoh playthrough. So I don't really think it needed one. And Sneasler's kind of weird. I don't. I mean, it's really lanky, and I don't know how I feel about that. So I'll just put them in B. I think they're fine. Um, the Origin Dialga and Palkia, I like them more than I did when they came out, but still they look really weird. Like Origin Giratina, because these are just essentially these are just the origin forms of these two. When Giratina's looks normal, it's like it becomes like the snake. These ones look like incomplete, and that's not what Origin Giratina looks like. So I don't know why they didn't do something like that. Subian Samurott is I'll put it in B. I like it. Actually, I'll put it in A. I like it because I like regular Samurott. It's my favorite Unova starter, and it's up there as one of my favorite starters. I think it's really cool, but it doesn't change a lot. Especially how like the shiny looks. The shiny at a glance could be mistaken for regular Samurott. Like I know a lot of Legends Arceus shinies revert to like their original Pokemon's colors, but this one is like really like it could actually be taken as the other one. Assuming Zorua and Zoroark are S tier, I think they're great. Normal Ghost is such a cool typing. Ghost is my favorite type, and I think Hisuian Zoroark is just so menacing and cool. I think it's awesome. And then Braviary, I'll put an A. Fantastic shiny. I don't like how late it is though in the game. You can't get it until a lot later, like the last area, the Islands. Yeah, Hisuian Avalugg is B. It doesn't change much. I like the rock parts on its side. But Ice Rock is not a good typing, and it basically just getting like shovels isn't the best. It's got like an okay shiny. But assuming Gudra, I think it's A tier. I use it on my team, and I think it's just really cool. Dragon Steel is an awesome typing, and Gudra I think deserves something like this. Being one of the weaker pseudo legendaries, I think it getting this form is really great. Weirdeer and Cleavor, I'll put in A. I think Cleavor wasn't necessary, but I think he's really cool. And Weirdeer, I think, was necessary, and I think they executed a Stantler evolution perfectly in making it a Psychic type. And I think it's what Stantler needed for a while. And then Enamorus, I'll put regular Enamorus in C and Therian in B. I like the Therian more, like the turtle. Regular one, it's just, I don't know, it's just something about it that's just kind of off to me. Basculegion is A. I guess I like the red one better, so I guess I'll put the male one better, so I guess I'll put the female in B. But I think he's really cool. Something that Basculin deserved, because Basculin is one of the most useless Pokemon out there. And I mean, you can only get it in this game. I think it shouldn't be Hisuian exclusive, because Wave Crash is still there. Like like Hisuian Cooter makes sense, but like Weirdeer and Overquill being only Hisuian and Ursaluda, which we'll put in A, I used in my team, I think is really cool. I think that should also be like cross generational. But now we're in to the Gen 9 Pokemon. Starting with the starters, Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley. I'll put Sprigatito in B and Fuecoco and Quaxley in A. I really like these two. I personally like Quaxley the best. These are not ordered within a tier, but I personally like Quaxley the best of the three. It was gonna be my pick just based on the pre-evolutions before seeing the final forms. And Fuecoco's cute. Obviously, everyone loves Fuecoco. And Sprigatito's just alright. I mean, I don't hate it, but I didn't expect much from it. Now, with Florigato, Crocolore, and Quaxwell, I don't like Quaxwell. I think its hair is weird, and its like hips are kind of weird too. I really like Florigato. I'll put Crocolore in B. The only thing saving it is its little sombrero. But I like Florigato. I think it's one of the better middle stage evolutions, and I think we all knew that Meowscarada, or we didn't know it would be Meowscarada, but that Sprigatito would end up on two legs. But I don't dislike it. Now for the final evolutions, I'll put Skeledirge in A. It's my favorite. And I'll put Quackquavel and Meowscarada in B. I used to not like these two, but seeing them in game does them a lot of justice. Like, these two pictures, to me, don't help it. Like, the first pictures when the games were leaked don't help it at all. But I've used Quackquavel in a playthrough, and I thought it was fun. But Skeledirge was the one I used in my first playthrough. I used Quackquavel in my second. And I have yet to use Meowscarada on a team, but I fully intend to, because I think I'll grow more to it. Because if I were to make this tier list right when the games came out, they would probably be in C, maybe D. But I think they're both solid starters. But Skeledirge is the best. Fire Ghost is an awesome typing. It's Quadruped, which is one of the first ones, I think, since Samurott. But yeah, they're good. Lechonk is A. He's awesome. He's so round in a good way. And its evolutions, Oinkologne, are B. I still don't know. I'm pretty sure this one's male, this is the female. And they're just okay. Maybe like a secondary typing, like normal fairy or normal ground or something could be cool. But that's good. The Dunsparce, I think the Dunsparce is funny. I think that we've waited so long for a Dunsparce evolution, and for it to be just as disappointing as regular Dunsparce was fitting. Especially, like, the only really big thing about it is it having 3 segments, potentially. It's, like, really hard to get. I haven't gotten one. But I do have a shiny of it, so I guess I'll put it in B. I just think it's funny, though. Tarantula, I like. I'll put Tarantula in B. It's got a good shiny. But it's an early out bug. I don't tend to get too attached to those. And Spidops, I'll put in C. It's kind of... A lot of people hate Spidops. I don't hate him. I just think, like, he's kind of weird. He's obviously not very good. Like I said, earlier out bugs, it's hard to, like, get attached to them because they're not that good. They're never going to be in a playthrough for that long if you use one on your team. But I think he's cool. Nimble and Lokix, I'll put Nimble in B and Lokix in A. I really like Lokix. I wish he was better, though. But, I mean, he's Bug Dark, which is okay typing, but he really doesn't have the best base stats. I think he should have been a bit stronger. I mean, I used one on my playthrough team, my first playthrough of Violet, sorry. First playthrough of Violet. I used Skeledirge, Lokix, so we'll get to the other team members as we go along, because I'll have some inherent bias against those ones. But I think he's really cool, and I had a lot of fun. Reller and Rabska. I like Reller's face, so I'll put them in B, because like a lot of people don't like how he has like a face with like a mustache if you could look at the actual bug, and I just think that's funny. And I do have a shiny of them. I like the gold, and I like when this is the gold ball and his body turns gold. I think I might like the ball better though. Greavard and Houndstone, I'll put Houndstone in B and Greavard in A. I really like these two. I think Greavard's like really cute and funny. Houndstone's alright. When it comes to their shinies, I think Greavard's got a good one, but Houndstone just becomes like blonde. Like, it looks like it has blonde hair, and I think it just looks kind of off-putting when Greavard's is like yellow and his looks like hair. But yeah, Flittle and Espathra are fine. Espathra is like weirdly good with its ability, Opportunist, and then like having Lumina Crash or Speed Boost is another ability, but Opportunist I think is better. And Flittle's just kind of everywhere. Espathra has a great shiny though, and I wish Flittle's was easier to spot because I want to hunt it because I really like the black color on Espathra's shiny. Frigoraph is A. I really want to use a Frigoraph. I think it's a much needed evolution that should have been out such a long time ago. But I like the palindrome. A lot of people complain about its name doesn't make sense. Like it should be Farigiraffe. I think Farigiraffe is fine. Um, but yeah, I think he's definitely an A tier. I want to use one on team. Wiglet and Wugtrio. Their Wiglet's funny. I'll put him in A and Wugtrio in B. I like how Wugtrio's a W, and I like how when you terrastalize a Wugtrio, just this one in the back, like this one furthest back, gets the hat, so it's like really small. It's like same thing with Dragcloak, that if you terrastalize it, the little Dreepy gets the hat and not like the Dragcloak. So I think that's fun. But they're just kind of goofy. They're silly. I'm not planning on using one, but I do have like pretty good shinies. Dondozo, I'll put in B. He's very annoying and competitive, and I hate him for that because my team that I use doesn't really have a counter for it. Um, but I know in Series 2, which comes in February 1st, which is just like 3 days away as of recording this, they're adding Paradox Pokemon, so maybe I'll run something like Brute Bonnet is probably not going to outshine a Moongus, but maybe I'll put like Roaring Moon or I mean Iron Thorns is weak to it, but I think Donzo is good, but he's very annoying to fight against. I think his design's alright. Veluza, I like. I'll put in B2. It's really annoying to like if you're hunting in the lake. It's really annoying to do it with Veluza because it'll just chase you the whole time. Like I was doing a Dratini hunt in the lake, and it was terrible. So I just went and hunt somewhere else, like in the pit by the fighting base. But I think it's fine. It's got a nice shiny though. Finizen and Palafin, I'll put in A, or I'll put Finizen and Hero Palafin in A, and I'll put regular Palafin in B. I think regular Palafin still should have changed and not just stayed a Finizen with the heart. But I think Hero Palafin's really cool. I think a lot of people don't like it. I think it's cool, like the having to leave and come back like a secret identity because he's the superhero. And Scovillain's the villain of it. But I also have a shiny, which I got in the 12-hour shiny video, which you should check out. Smoliv, I used Narbalva on my Scarlet team, which was my second playthrough. So I'll probably put them in. I'll put Smoliv and Arboliva in A and Dolive in B. I think Doliv's alright. It's not as cute as Smoliv, and it's not as like regal looking as Arboliva. I mean, grass normal isn't the best typing, but Seed Sower is a pretty cool ability, and I like it. I think it's pretty cool. Especially, I have a shiny of it, and it's a really subtle shiny that I think looks pretty good. Capsicum and Scovillain I'll put in B. I wish the first fire grass type was better. Like a pepper, people talk about it being like a hot pepper forever, and for this to be what it ended up being, I think is kind of disappointing. But it's not terrible, but I expected a lot more of a fire grass type, which we've been waiting for forever. Tadbulb and Bellybolt I like. I'll put Tadbulb in B and Bellybolt in A. Uh, I think Bellybolt's really cool. I like how they revealed it in like the two streams, and it was like it's Iono's mascot, who's my favorite gym leader. Well, I might like Larry more, but I also think Tadbulb's everywhere, and I wish it had a better shiny because I tried to hunt it and I didn't get one, and I could have very well failed the shiny not knowing. But I don't know. I think Tadbulb's all right. Vroom and Revavroom, I like. I'll put them in A. I think Poison Steel is a cool typing. It's got a 4 times weakness, but I think they should have Levitate because it is levitating, like Revavroom, and they like fly off the ground. So I think Levitate would have made sense. But I like how it's like, I think it could also work as a ghost type because it's said that it was like a ghost possessing an engine, and how it's like the rocks that they built around it. I think that's pretty cool. Orthworm is S tier. You know, he's the channel's mascot. Everyone loves Orthworm. He's awesome. He's cute. He's awesome. He's got a fantastic shiny, which I got randomly. But yeah, it's Orthworm. Look at him. Tandemaus and the mouse holds. I'll put Tandemaus in. I guess I'll put them in B. They're okay. There's nothing like crazy about them. I think it's funny though that it's. I think Tandemaus and Mousehold are fantastic names. How you can get like different families, and how like it doesn't actually evolve regularly. Like it'll evolve and it will never tell you. I think that's also an interesting mechanic. Citadel and Cetitan, I think they're A. I think Citadel's cute, and I think Cetitan is like really menacing and cool. I really want to use one, and I do have a shiny of them, and I think it's got a fantastic shiny, one of the best of the generation. But I also think Cetitan, it was one of my favorites pre-release. It was my favorite until Armarouge and Ceruledge were announced. But now we're on to the pseudo Frigibax, Arctibax, and Baxcalibur, and I do have a shiny of these, and I'll put Frigibax and Arctibax in B, and I'll put Baxcalibur in A. Not my favorite pseudo legendary, but I think it's definitely a solid one. Ice Dragon's like it's an interesting typing. It's not the best typing, but I think it's pretty cool. I like, even though Glaive Rush is not the best move, I like its animation where it just like jumps on its back. But I think it's solid. Not the worst pseudo, but not the best either. Tatsugiri, I'll put all the forms in the same. I'll put them in B. I like it more than Tondozo, but by like proxy, I have to rate it with Dondozo because it's one of the reasons why it's so annoying and competitive is because of Tatsugiri. But I think it's okay. If I had to say my favorite, it's the yellow form because of its art, and it's like based off the sushi. They're based off like the arts look like that, which I think was a really cool detail that I never noticed. Cyclozar, I'll put Cyclozar in A. I think it's interesting because it's essentially like it's basically, I mean, it is Koraidon Miraidon, but they're the paradox forms. Because I like that idea that they're paradox forms, but they were the first ones, so the professors classify them as legendary, which leaves Cyclozar to have a lot of like interesting story behind him, and like Heath and stuff. Because I think it was like Heath's Cyclozar. I don't know. Palmy line, I'll put Palmy in A, and I'll put Palmo and Palmot in B. I hate how it barely changes. Palmo is just Palmy standing up. Their names barely change. They're all one letter off each other. Like they all just like it changes from I to O and then adds a T. Like it doesn't make sense. I think Palmot should have been the second stage and they should have had something else. But I think it's fine. It's cool to be one of the first electric and fighting types and then have two in a generation. But I think the other electric fighting type is a lot better. Wattrel and Kilowattrel, I like. I think I'll put them both in A. I used a Kilowattrel on my team in my first playthrough. I think it's awesome. One of my fellow YouTuber friends is not a fan of it, but I think he's cool. I think electric flying is an awesome type, and I wasn't going to use him, but then I saw gameplay of him before the games came out, and I thought it just looked awesome, so I knew from there I had to use it. Bombardier is fine. Same with Squawkabilly. I'll put like all four of them there. I don't have a preference. They're all just birds. Bombardier like dropping like bombs instead of babies as a stork is kind of cool, and Squawkabilly is just like kind of boring. There's nothing to them. I thought it should have been like grass flying, but it's all right. There's nothing special about it. Actually, no. I'll probably put Squawkabilly down in C. I don't really care about it. I think Bombardiers have like a decent design. Flamigo, I'll put an A. I didn't really. I mean, like, yeah, it's basically just a flamingo, but you can kind of see that it's like body looks like a boxing glove, which could be why it's a fighting type. But I think fighting flying is a cool type, and I think it's just for our first flamingo Pokemon. I don't think it's disappointed. Plus, Co-Star is a good ability. Cloth I like. I'd not be. I'll put him in A. I think it's fantastic, shiny. First of all, one of the best. And I think he's cool. I wish he was better. I want to use him, but he's like not that good. And Anchor Shell's not the best ability. Which his other one which I don't remember is better. But I think he's cool, and he's like, and being like the first Titan you're supposed to fight, I think he's like a good introductory fight. Knackle, Stack, and Garganical, another Violet playthrough team member. Not give me goal. I'll put them all in A. I really like all three of their designs. I think they're all great. Garganical is my favorite. I do have a shiny of him. But I think that I think they're really cool, especially, and like everyone's made the reference, but he's a Mario mushroom and he's a Minecraft temple. Um, but I really like these three. I think Garganacl. I don't know what about him, but I think he's just so cool, especially like the big like grippers. Gimme Ghoul, I guess we'll go to because I kind of went skipped, but I'll put Gimme Ghoul in A along with Golden Go. I think Golden Go is like really awesome that he's like the 1,000th Pokemon and he's just kind of like he's like he has a surfboard. It's awesome. I wish it was easier to get because I want to use him on a playthrough, but it's like not the easiest to obtain. It'll take a while, but maybe I'll try it one day when I use Meowscarada. Maybe I'll put Farigiraf on the team too. We'll see. Glimmet and Glamora, I'll put Glimmet in B. I'll put them both in B. I think they have okay designs. Glimmet looks like a bike horn. And Glamora, it looks better when it attacks. And it's got great shinies, but its reputation's like kind of ruined for me because it's Gita's ace. And I don't like Gita as a champion. As a character, she's fine. But her ace should have been King Gamut, and Glamora should have been her first Pokemon because of its ability. Its ability is useless in that fight because it's the final Pokemon. You're not going to send anything else in. Shroodle and Grafai I'll put in B. I think they're okay. Nothing crazy about them. They're just alright. I thought Grafai should have gotten an evolution rather than a pre-evolution, but it's alright. Fido and Darkspun I'll put in A. I think Darkspun is like one of the best evolutions in this game, in this generation, because it's such like it's a good organic evolution. How it just gets baked and like it puffs up. I think that's really awesome. And they got like okay shinies. And although I wish Fido had a better like level up moveset in the beginning. It really doesn't learn any fairy moves. Mastiff and Mabostiff I like. I'll put them in A. A lot of my opinions towards them come from the Path of Legend story with Arven's Mabostiff, which was, a tearjerker. That was something else. Can't believe they actually did that. I do have a shiny of it, and I used it in my Scarlet playthrough, not my first one, but I did use them, and I think it's pretty cool. And I like the Dark type. A lot of dogs this generation. 3 different dogs. But I think they're all pretty good. Bramblin and Brambleghast I'll put in B. I like Brambleghast. I think it kind of just should have been a single stage evolution because it kind of just gets a face and it gets bigger. And Bramblin's okay. I think it's definitely like gonna be one of the more forgettable Pokemon as time goes along because it's just a tumbleweed. Now on to the Paradox Pokemon. I think at first I thought Violet had the better ones, but now I probably see that Scarlet does. But with Great Tusk, I'll put him in A. And I think it's the superior of the two Donphan forms. I think it's got a fantastic shiny. Um, I think it's like the best Donphan. It's the best form of Donphan of the 3, of regular and Iron Treads. And I want to use it on a team, and I guess you can because you can get it in the desert after you beat it in Scarlet, which I might end up doing. But I think he's really cool. Brew Bonnet is B. It's fine. It's got like a tail, which is kind of weird. But I wasn't the biggest fan of Amoonguss, so it's just like it's kind of okay. Sandy Shocks is A. I think he's like really funny. How I'm pretty sure these are like electromagnetic fibers, and how it's like a walking magneton is really cool and fun. Screamtail is B. Kind of one of the more boring Paradox forms. Doesn't change too much. Not my least favorite, but it's towards the bottom. We'll get to my least favorite in a bit. Fluttermane I'll put in A. Fluttermane was my least favorite, but learning its backstory, it's actually kind of like those are actually wings, and it's like basically like a type of dinosaur that died, and I think that's really interesting, and it's also like broken. It's got like really high special attack. Slitherwing I'll put in A. I think it's also the superior Volcarona form. I think its tail is awesome, and when it stands up, like seeing this picture doesn't do it justice. I think you have to see it in game, which is what happened to me. I liked Iron Moth better, but seeing it in game, just And Roaring Moon is A. Great shiny, great form of Salamence, and it mimics Mega Salamence, which makes sense in the lore because Mega is supposed to like revert you to prehistoric origins, and that's what happened with Roaring Moon. So I think it's like I think it's the Paradox Pokemon that makes the most sense. And then into Violet, I think most of them are okay. I'd probably put Iron Treads, Iron Moth, in B. I think they're okay. They're not the best. They're like the worst of the two, but I don't think they're terrible. Iron Jugulis I'll put in C. I think it's the worst Paradox form because it changes the least. It's like basically just Hydreigon, and it's the story behind how it was created is kind of weird. I'll put, and then I'll put the other these four: Iron Hands, Iron Thorns, Iron Bundle, and Iron Valiant in B or in A. I think Iron Valiant is cool, but I think it's kind of off-putting with its eyes. I think the eyes look kind of weird. Iron Bundle I think is a lot cooler in game because I don't like regular Delibird, but this one's like really strong. And then Iron Thorns and Iron Hands I feel like are like the main two Violet ones. I have shinies of both of them, and Iron Hands. I'm like one of the guys who uses Iron Hands in the raids. I just think they're really cool. I think because just making all the Violet ones robotic doesn't make sense because it's not evolution. It's just making a new robot. It's making a robot. But I think these two are the best. Especially Iron Hands, I think is the best of not being Hariyama, but representing a Hariyama, like clearly being related somehow. With the Ruinous Quartet, I'll put Ting Lu. That's Cerulege. Um, I'll put Ting Lu in A. It's my favorite. I'll probably put. Actually, I'll accept everyone except Wo Chien. Or not Wo Chien. Everyone except. Where is he? Yeah, no, Wo Chien. I like Ting Lu, Qian Pao, and Chi Yu. I wish their abilities are really good in singles, but they're terrible in doubles. So I wish that was a bit better. But and then Wo Chien, Grass Dark, again, another Grass Dark type, 3 this generation. It's not a good type. And I think it's like the weirdest looking of the 3 with like its eyes being those. But I think the rest of these are cool. Because I think they all also inhabit like, the bowl, the sword, the beads, and the pad. They're the tablets in their designs. Tinglu's probably the worst that does that, but I think it's my favorite one. Koraidon and Miraidon, I'll put them both in A. Same, I guess their riding forms are the same. But I think they're both really cool. I probably like regular Koraidon more than regular Miraidon, but I like driving Miraidon more because I like the wheels. Although I will say that flying with Miraidon looks really weird because it like flies in the bike form when Miraidon like opens the wings or Koraidon opens the wings. I think that makes more sense. Tinkaton and that line. I like Tinkatink and Tinkatuff, but Tinkaton is my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon. I use it on my team. Fairy Steel is the best type in the game. Steel being the best and Fairy's up there. But that combination is the best. I really like the hammer. I named it Jonathan in my playthrough because of a Paul Rudd meme. And I don't know, I just think it's really awesome. And especially like the idea that it's just like Corviknight and like the hammer's made of Corviknight that it hits out of the sky, and then it's shiny as shiny Corviknight. Charcadet. Charcadet's A. Armarouge and Cerulege are S. At first, I liked Cerulege more, which I know a lot of people do, but now I'm in the minority that I like Armarouge more. I used it on a playthrough. I didn't use Cerulege in Violet playthrough because Violet was my first game, and I picked Skeledirge, and they would be the exact same type. But I used Armarouge in my Scarlet playthrough, and after doing that, I like Armarouge a lot more. Maybe when I play through Violet again, I'll use Cerulege. We'll see. But right now, I like Armarouge more. But both are fantastic. Some of the best humanoid Pokemon. Toad's Cool and Toad's Cruel are an A. I think it's awesome how they run. I really like Grass Ground. It's not, having that 4 times weakness to ice, but I just think it's really cool how it's like it walks and it like makes sense being like a convergent species. King Gambit's A2, great shiny. And now, like, I never thought Bisharp needed an evolution, but now, like, when I get a Bisharp in a randomizer, which happens more often than I thought, I can't picture it without King Gambit. But I think it's a great evolution. I like how it, like, sits on its hair, and I think Kowtow Cleave is a really cool attack, where, like, brings its head down and bows. Same with its ability, Supreme Overlord. Cloudsire is S tier. My last playthrough member of Violet. And he's Cloudsire. He looks like a Long John. Look how awesome he is. Look at that smile. He's perfect. And then finally we have Annihilate, which is also S tier. I think the best new evolution besides Cloudsire or Overquill, I'll have to see, that we've ever gotten. It's something I never thought we needed, but kind of what I like now. I can't picture without it. Annihilate's so strong. It's awesome. It looks so cool. I have a bit of a lackluster shiny, but other than that, it's great. With that being said, that is the list of Hisuian and Paldean Pokemon. I'll quickly scroll through so you guys can see all the tiers. Nothing much at the bottom there. there's B and A, and then finally S tier. But that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Check out my other videos, the Ultra Sun series and the Let's Go video, and I'll see you in the next one.